From June 27th to July 14th, 2026, the world may face 4 shocks. An attack on a major political figure, a military escalation where no one expected it, a large-scale technological failure, and financial chaos coming from a completely unpredictable source. We are standing on the threshold of a global upheaval. It's not the final one, but it's an important turning point in the history of humanity. The peak of these events falls around July 4th, and I have clear historical data as well as astrological combinations showing why this period matters so much for the entire world. I call this period the window of Prague because on July 4th, Mars, the planet of war, detonation and conflict, will conjoin Uranus, the planet of sudden events that break through the surface. And what can break through under Mars? Wars, conflicts, violence, everything Mars rules. So our first forecast is direct shocking strikes against the top levels of power, coups, protests or assassination attempts. A truly dangerous time for them because we don't know whose state may lose its leader and where they could lead the country, and how many lives will be affected as a result, who will carry it out, and what will they be trying to achieve. Uranus loves to knock down systems, institutions and established rules. Look at the pattern. In July 2024, right in the center of this same kind of window, there was an assassination attempt on Trump. At the same time, Bangladesh turned from student protest into bloody chaos with the army on the streets in just a matter of days. Now rewind further. August 2022, supporters of Muqtada al-Sadr stormed Iraq's parliament. In 2026, political collapses and attacks on power may become one of the greatest risks of the year. By the way, if you would like to receive a personal forecast or resolution of your situation, there will be a link in the description of this video to my website where you can choose the reading that suits you. The second thing we need to prepare for is sudden flashes of war. And again, how many lives will be affected as a result? As we have already noticed, Mars is the planet of war and Uranus gives it the energy to erupt suddenly, sharply and unexpectedly. This is also a period of explosions and the shaking of the earth, which, by the way, can often manifest literally as strong earthquakes or explosions during the indicated period. Look at what happened in July 2024 when this same conjunction was active in the sky. Within just a few days, 2 things happened, and each of them was a first. On July 19th, the Houthis struck a residential building in Tel Aviv with a drone, reaching directly into the heart of Israel for the first time in the history of the conflict. Israel responded 2 days later with the first airstrike on Yemen in its history, hitting the port of Hodeidah. 2 red lines were crossed in 1 week. Now, August 2022, after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, China launched the largest military exercises in its history surrounding the island with live-fire drills. They were bigger than anything China had done since the Taiwan Strait crisis of 1995-1996, including ballistic missiles flying directly over the island for the first time in decades. Airlines were forced to reroute flights urgently. Some cancelled flights to Taipei, while others had to fly around the closed zones surrounding the island. Mars with Uranus really does create the crossing of boundaries that previously seemed untouchable, because this planetary combination produces explosive and unexpected events. This is a time of escalations and the beginning of conflicts. This is a time of rebellions and the overthrow of the calm order. But still, we shouldn't think of this as something automatically on the level of a world war. No, by itself, Uranus and Mars conjunction doesn't create a world war, but Mars and Uranus can trigger a world war if there are additional indications. The third strike is economic and civil system, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from war, although it can. It can also come from a cyber attack, or even from one bad file, for example. happen. Remember January 2021, the same planetary cycle. Ordinary traders on Reddit created a short squeeze in GameStop stock, causing major losses for hedge funds that held huge short positions. Melon Capital alone lost 53% in 1 month. Almost $4.5 billion evaporated. The system couldn't handle it. On one trading day, the stock was halted almost 20 times in a row by automatic circuit breakers. And now, July 19, 2024, one faulty CrowdStrike update file took down around 8.5 million Windows computers worldwide. Delta Airlines lost $500 million in direct losses alone. Hospitals switched to paper records. Airports had to operate manually. Total losses were estimated at more than $5 billion. Mars with Uranus brings down giants because this celestial conjunction breaks structures, norms, and systems. In 2026, around July 4th, the financial shock comes again. Because look at the place where Mars and Uranus conjoin in Taurus, the sign of finance and resources for survival. The final element of today's forecast is disruption in electricity, aviation, space, and nanotechnology. In that same July 2024, literally right next to the CrowdStrike date, Falcon 9 suffered a second stage engine failure on July 11th, the first failure after 9 years of flawless work. 20 Starlink satellites burned up in the atmosphere. You can see 2 events and 2 system failures within 1 month. In August 2022, China's military exercises around Taiwan restricted the airspace for 3 days, cancelling more than 1,400 flights. Civil aviation was not the military target, but it still felt the shock. From June 27th to July 14th, 2026, we may see disruption in nanotechnology, electricity, aviation, or related infrastructure. So, during the window of crack, 2026, from June 27th to July 14th, 2026, we may expect the following: an attack on political leader or political power, a new military front or the escalation of an old one with higher stakes and the crossing of new boundaries. We may also expect a technological collapse involving communication or electricity, a chain of earthquakes or one major earthquake, volcanic eruptions, and a financial black swan. The previous 2 Mars-Uranus windows delivered this entire combination at once, not over months, but within just a few days. Be ready.